Oh shit.
Make your own choice and embrace what you've become with Deus Ex Mankind Divided Augment Your Pre-Order. Augment Your Pre-Order is your chance to customize your Deus Ex experience from the very beginning by choosing the pre-order rewards you want. Start today by pre-ordering Deus Ex Mankind Divided at any retailer and choose your first reward. Choose from rewards like DLC, an art book, an exclusive mission, and more. Combine multiple rewards across different tiers to customize your ideal loadout. As pre-order numbers climb, more rewards are unlocked. If pre-order goals are reached, everyone gets to select one reward from each tier, as well as the ultimate prize. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Released 4 days early. 4 days early.
Oh, it's like the ultimate ironic statement.
Recently, it's become more and more prevalent that ransacking content for pre-order bonuses has taken the #1 spot over shoddy DLC practices as the biggest grievance for most gamers. Though DLC is still very much something most publishers consider to be a necessity rather than anything else, publishers guaranteeing a certain number of sales before the game is even released is of a higher priority than maintaining any sort of player base over time, though of course that depends entirely on the type of game. There's been numerous examples of terrible pre-order bonuses, one of the worst being the announcement of Evolve, released earlier this year. 2K showing off pre-order content before gamers had even seen a shred of gameplay, then going on to taint the game even further with DLC that felt ripped straight from the game. Watch Dogs 2 saw a pre-order fiasco so large that some gamers even took to making spreadsheets showing the content that would be available from certain retailers. How some gamers perceive value has become an obsession for publishers over the past few years, and it's starting to get pretty ridiculous. Recently, Square Enix announced the Augment Your Pre-Order scheme. Essentially a stretch goal system, 5 tiers of unlocks would become available based on how many people worldwide pre-ordered Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Tier 1 allowed people to vote on certain in-game skins, Tier 2 was either a digital art book or soundtrack, Tier 3 was an in-game mission, Tier 4 a choice between a short story or comic book, and Tier 5 getting the game 4 days before official release. I think the majority of us can agree that pre-ordering video games is an inherently stupid thing to do. We've seen so many shoddy releases these past few years that you really would have to be a cog in the hype machine to buy into any video game before the actual release build has been reviewed by a reliable source. It's not so much that I have a problem with the idea of pre-ordering games specifically. In theory, it should be a nice, convenient way of getting your product on the day of release. The practice, however, is entirely different. Most publishers just can't be trusted to ship a working product day one. But that's not what particularly bothers me here. What bothers me most about the Augment Your Pre-Order deal is just how aggressive it is towards consumers who aren't willing to pay the money up front. It's not just some throwaway mission and a few in-game character items being held to ransom anymore, it's the entire game for 4 days. That's really what people want, and they're going to push their friends and people online to pre-order just so that you can get the experience as soon as possible. There's a level of smarmy genius to it all, really. From the outside, it seems wholly innocent to anybody who isn't familiar with the industry's controversies, but to the people inside, the people who actually care about video games, it's a really disgusting way of ensuring the numbers tick up without being presented with any solid evidence that the game will be as expected on release. Square Enix are seemingly one of the most paranoid publishers out there. Only a few years ago, they complained that Tomb Raider had only sold 3 million copies, and that they wouldn't be able to maintain the IP if it didn't gain more interest. They build entire games like Final Fantasy or The Bravest around microtransactions, announce so many Final Fantasy games in a short space of time to try and keep fans excited that they don't actually see that exhausts them instead. They're a publisher that doesn't understand what gamers want. In fact, they're one of a myriad of publishers that doesn't understand what gamers want. We just want a solid, reliable and enjoyable experience that doesn't waste our time and money. The majority of us don't even really have a problem with DLC. If your game's good enough, we're sure to dip back in for more. Why wouldn't we? But all this pre-order nonsense, it makes them look desperate. Worse, it makes them look as though they're not in the least bit confident in the game's ability to sell itself. Because Deus Ex will sell itself. It's one of the most beloved IPs in the history of gaming. This, of course, is the biggest problem. A title that's beloved by so many is being dragged through the dirt because of corporate paranoia and greed. Of course, this video doesn't matter. Jim Sterling and Total Biscuits don't matter either. It doesn't matter how high profile you're perceived as being, because people are fucking stupid, and I'm certain the game will be great regardless. Just don't. Just wait and buy it on the actual release date. Please. I beg of you. As a gamer, for you as a gamer, just wait for the thing to be released on the actual date. That's all we're really asking.